and explosive fire, evacuations, and area traffic issues. The high-risk plan to get this tanker fire under control. This massive train car fire in Lincoln is growing more explosive. These are live pictures, and that is propane burning out of a train tanker. If you've been following this, you can see this train tanker fire is growing. That is propane in that tanker. It's so dangerous that fire crews aren't manning those hoses, but they are trying to cool off the tanker so it doesn't explode. 4,800 homes within a mile of that are under an evacuation order. That extends through the night. Lincoln's in a state of emergency. The concern right now is pressure in that tank. An explosion would essentially turn the tanker into a bomb. And if you've been following this, you can see this train tanker fire has grown. That is propane burning in that tanker. 4,800 homes within a mile of that are under an evacuation order. That extends through the night. It's so dangerous that fire crews are not manning those hoses you see, but they are trying to cool off the tanker so it doesn't explode. Lincoln is in a state of emergency. All area schools are closed tomorrow, and part of Highway 65 is still shut down. The concern right now is pressure in that tank. An explosion would essentially turn that tanker into a bomb, and there are other tankers nearby full of petroleum products, so they too could explode. Thousands of people are spending the night tonight at 3 evacuation centers as crews try to keep this tanker from exploding. Right now, firefighters are not manning those hoses down there because it's just too dangerous. As this train tanker fire continues to burn, how the plan to fight this fire by starting another one is turning out.
Breaking news, first alert.
A new approach tonight to fight the train tanker fire burning in Lincoln. On the left side of your screen, you see workers were on top of the tanker about an hour and a half ago. They got the fire out and started pouring water and foam into the tank. And that's a live picture there on your right. You can see they have reignited that fire to burn off the vapors. That's the very last of the propane. They are no longer dropping streams of water onto that fire.
Well, Edie, it was a surprising announcement coming from the Lincoln Fire Chief just about an hour ago when we all learned that there was a major development in this incident in fighting that fire there in the north end of Lincoln. We had heard for all day how they were going to have to use this elaborate, risky plan, having to drill a hole under the tanker, siphon off that dangerous liquid propane into a pool, and then set it on fire. Well, it turns out they're not going to have to do any of that, and that is simply because the fire chief says that the liquid propane had simply burned itself out. It was gone. It's no longer in the tank. They said they had noticed that the fire was behaving differently. It was behaving lazy, in his words, and that led some of the professionals on scene think that, well, maybe there's something else going on here, so they decided to take another approach that bodes well for putting this fire out.
That's right. You're looking at the live picture of the tanker, and the first thing you notice, as Edie mentioned, is that the water cannons are off. They no longer need to flood cooling water. That's because the vapors the few vapors that are left are still burning off the top of the tank. So Plan B is working. Plan B is to flood that tanker with foam and water, forcing the remaining vapors to the top and then simply burning them off.
But the good thing is we're not going to offload product out into the pond and ignite it.
Well, the Lincoln Fire Chief made the announcement here that it might be possible for these people here at the evacuation centers to go home sometime after midnight. And when he said that, there was a round of applause because these people are very anxious. This is the second night they've been out of their homes. And, of course, it's difficult with taking the pets and the kids and the whole family and then spending the night on cot.
Well, that includes, right now we're going to turn our attention back to that propane fire in Lincoln. There is now a federal probe into what happened.
Let's go to Maria Medina. She is live now just a few yards from where the propane tanker was. Maria, what are you going to say?
Well, that is the propane tanker that was on fire for nearly 2 days, a much different scene today. Now you can see that the yellow tape is up, and investigators have been in and out here all day today trying to piece together what led to the fire that put this entire town on edge.
All right.
Many residents returning home now thanking the fire chief of Lincoln for the department's work.
It could have blown up and blew up half the city.
This fire captain, one of the first on scene, he says Heritage Propane, the parent company of Northern Energy, is known as one of Lincoln's hazards. As soon as the fire was out, OSHA opened an investigation into the safety procedures here. There's also a federal investigation because of a track on site used for the tanker cars. So far, the fire chief says the blaze looks accidental, sparked during a routine inspection. It's possible a valve failed. And we've been told that investigators will be here until tomorrow. A check with OSHA and the Public Utilities Commission shows no record of violations. Now investigators are trying to find out why there was a leak, what sparked this fire. The fire chief says static electricity could have done it. Now, I actually called a propane company in Sacramento just to get an idea of these routine checks that they have on these tanker cars. They say the valves are very vulnerable. Propane vapors are very ignitable, and that anything could have sparked this fire, including hot weather. Guys?
That's the real car that was on fire in Lincoln. This is the remains of it. They're inspecting it to see what's wrong with it. How did that fire start? That's what they're looking for. Channel 3 is on the scene, along with a few others. There's the tanker's way over there. This is the one that was on fire, and it's right across the street from a school. I think it exploded when the school was in session.